Today is the official launch of our virtual reality program for DLS. Some of you have been involved in the initial beta trials, so it's great to see you here. And if you haven't been involved in those trials, then today's webinar will just introduce you to what VR is, how it works, how it fits into your language training classes, how it aligns with your curriculum, the student goals, the LMS, etc. I would also like to introduce you to the VR team, which if you have done a VR immersion or if you do a VR immersion, you will be working with them. So Leah is an integral tie between VR and the language training teams. So if you have worked on any of the Chinese virtual immersions, you've probably worked with Leah. So she'll be sharing doing a demo for us in today's presentation. And then Sean, he handles the tech side of things. So if you have tech related questions, you'll go to Sean and he'll help you out. And then Judith, who just joined, also works with a lot of teachers and also works on the tech side. So we'll talk about what an immersion is like in virtual reality or VR, some of the foundational principles. So these are things that as instructors, we know, things like task-based learning, proficiency-oriented language. So how VR kind of is built on that. Then we'll hand over to Leah for a product overview, and then we'll talk about how to request a VR immersion if you're interested in setting that up for your class. So we're going to start off just with a short video, just a short promotional video showing what VR is, giving you a little glimpse.
At DLS, we know that learning a language goes beyond traditional classroom instruction. We use engaging activities and real-life experiences to fully immerse students. Using course curriculum integrated with the latest technology, you and your instructor explore and collaborate in a virtual environment. Using VR technology, visit real-life locations to engage in everyday activities and immerse in local culture in your target language. At DLS, we build our language programs around your goals. Whether it's to refresh your language or to learn a new one, DLS has full and part-time courses customized for your needs. Our student success matters to us because language matters to us all.
So this is the VR headset that you'll use. So some of the foundational principles for virtual reality immersions. Of course, we know that language is culturally embedded. That's something we run into with our students all the time, which language does not happen in a vacuum. Every piece from beginner up to advanced takes place in a cultural context. So virtual reality immersions are in a way similar to a real immersion that you might do or arrange with your students. So they get to visit the target region and go to a culturally important site there. And it allows you to kind of point things out or demonstrate or teach culture in a way that might be more exciting than just doing on a flat screen in your class. As you'll see in a second, our virtual reality modules are interactive and instructor-led. So VR is something that is emerging at a lot of different language schools and language programs. And some of the VR programs that you'll see are students working alone or autonomous or interacting with a script. But we knew that we wanted ours to really incorporate the instructor in a key role because we depend so much on your cultural expertise and your knowledge. And what you know about the target region and the target language. So you, the instructor, are a key piece of our virtual language immersions. So we'll talk about that and what that looks like and how it's different from other VR programs you might encounter. Our immersions are task-based. That aligns with our curricular goals. So you'll see different tasks within the virtual immersions. And this also allows you to differentiate your immersions for different levels of students that you have. So if you have a novice student, intermediate, or advanced, you can differentiate for each of those levels. And then just some of the benefits of VR, which you'll see in a minute, but as we know, like the more impactful we can make our learning, the more the student is likely to learn it at a deeper level. So even showing students a video is really helpful, or a picture or something like that. In VR, one of the reasons it's so effective is that it engages lots of different modalities. So vision, auditory, and it also kind of puts you in the virtual location. So it makes you feel like you're really there. So your sense of location and perception of what's around you. Okay, so now this is just, you'll see the homepage for our VR website. This is what it looks like. Right now, it's in 3 languages, so Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. We do have additional languages coming soon. And you can access this, we'll show you how, through the website and through an Oculus 2 website, Oculus 2 headset, sorry. So if you decide to do an immersion with your student, DLS will invite the student to come on site where they'll put the headset on, and you can still direct the experience from your home because you're meeting in virtual space, or they might ship the student a headset, and DLS will manage all of those logistics. And then it's also integrated into your LMS. So if you schedule an immersion, then a week before the immersion takes place, pre and post immersion tasks will be loaded into your LMS so that you can look through with your student and you can select which ones you think will be best for them. All right, so this is the Chinese, a screenshot of the Chinese immersion. This is in Fujian province. You might recognize this circular building. It's a two-low building, so very famous tourist destination in China. This is a screenshot from the Russian module. So of course, this is Mamayev Kurgan in Volgograd. So another very popular tourist destination. And basically students get to walk through the memorial complex. There are lots of statues, audio for them to listen to, lots of text for them to read, and they get to walk through with you and look at the different pieces and discuss them. And then this is the Arabic module. It's set in Jordan. You probably recognize Petra. And so here again, students get to virtually walk through the space and look at all of the sites and read about it. And then these are just screenshots from different VR trials that we've done. So here you can see what the avatars look like. The ones who have the star over their head, those are the instructors. We put this there just so the students know who the instructor is. They can find you easily. And you see you can do it here with this one here just has one student, or these show you have 2 students. So if you have a group class, then it's very easy to lead them through the virtual space. And you'll also see that your avatar in virtual reality has kind of like an arm and a hand. So you can point to things and show your students things or explain things or get them to describe or ask questions. So it allows you to kind of point things out. This is just a picture of what the VR tiles look like. So this is the Chinese one. For Chinese, there are 4 different immersions. All of them are in the same approximate location. So there's 4 different places they can visit in this village in Fujian province. And this is just a glimpse of the pre and post work. So you'll see the lesson objectives. There's a teacher guide that you'll have for the immersion itself. And usually there's some vocabulary pre-work, maybe some reading or listening that you might assign the students to do. And then this is just some of the post work. The student completes a voice thread, which you can then listen to and give some feedback on. Okay, so now you're probably want to see the exciting part. So I'm going to hand it over to Leah for that. And she is going to give you a tour of the Chinese modules.
Thank you, Jessica. Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Kaufman. I am one of the language training coordinators for the Asian department. I'm also a Chinese teacher at DLS, and I've been involved with the VR development for the Chinese portion of what we're doing. So today I want to walk you through what it looks like to run a virtual reality demo for your student. And so prior to even doing the demo, you would work with the VR team to be trained on the product, and we would answer any questions that you have. Also in the LMS, when we have decided which module you're doing with your students, the tiles for that module will be put into your LMS, and included in that tile is a lesson plan outline. So we don't just throw the whole thing at you. We do provide some guidance so you have a place to start, but it's not incredibly detailed either, as we want you to make it your own, and for you to feel free to tailor the class to exactly what your student can do or is trying to accomplish. So let's look at it together. So this is the live website for our virtual reality. And so as an instructor, if you are remote with your student doing a demo, you would lead the demonstration from your computer. And if you're in person, you could do it either way with a headset or by website. So this video is taken on the website, and I'm just gonna talk over it as the video plays. So you log in as an instructor, you create your username, and then there's a randomly generated meeting ID that I recommend to change to something easier. Then you provide that meeting ID to your student, and they connect with that same password, and that's how you meet them in the virtual space. So there's the 3 languages plus a general template, which has non-language specific settings like a hotel and a conference room. When you choose your language, you then choose the specific activity that you're going to do. So I'm taking you to Tasha Village, which is part of the Fujian province. So this one takes you up to the top of a hill. And I just want to pause and say there's no audio in this video, but one of the really cool things about VR is that there is an audio component to it. So you'll be communicating with your student. If you're remote, you'll be using the software that's in VR to talk to your student. But we also have some features like rushing water or birds chirping, or a crowd talking. And so that's part of the experience. So that really adds to the feeling of immersion, like you're actually there. So on the website, you just click and drag your screen around, and there's the option to go to full screen. So I recommend doing that for a full experience. And so you can go 360 degrees around you, you can go up, and you can look down as well. And then to navigate, you just click on the blue buttons that have the number of stations that there are. So you kind of always know, okay, I'm at station 3 out of 8 stations. And so you click on that button to move yourself forward, and the student will also be doing the same on their end. So throughout the modules, there's different signs that you can read in the target language with the student, and just a lot of cultural context that essentially we're hoping that you're able to provide an opportunity for students to be learning language through culture. And by learning culture, they have a bigger comprehensive understanding of the language as a whole, and that can inform how they're learning the actual language, because language and culture are connected. So throughout this video, I'm just going to take you through all 8 stations. So in this part, there's kind of a street that we walk down and different things that can be discussed along the way. We are able to edit and tailor the modules. So this is an example of something that DLS has added to the imagery that was in the module. Oops, let me go back. So this is an example of a room rates thing for a hotel. So at this point, students and instructors often stop and do a role play. Or if there's 2 students in the class, you could have one student be the person working at the hotel and the other person is trying to get a room. So it's a real life way for the students to be using the language. And we really rely on teachers to use the target language the entire time that you're in the VR environment in order to provide a fully immersive experience for the student. And the great thing about VR is that it can be tailored based on the student's level. So you can have a beginner student go into Tasha Village and an advanced student going into Tasha Village, and they would be able to do all of the activities, but it would be different. You would tailor it based on their proficiency. So for this module, you can actually go into the hotel. So more opportunities for role play here, and it's just fun to do something different. It kind of feels like you're there. We also have some of the signage in Chinese to keep up that immersive environment. And so this is something you would get familiar with prior to conducting the trial. Because it's just online, you can go in and explore at your own pace so that you get familiar with the module, so you feel comfortable leading your student through. And so we're about to go into a restaurant, and I'll show you an example of something that you can, I'm showing you the view first. When you go into the hotel, you can, so with a beginner student, maybe you try to order food. You do a role play where they're ordering food, since that's something that a 0 to 1 student could do. But if you have a more advanced student, maybe you're talking about business negotiations or etiquette or hosting a guest in China. And even things like, if you see in the back, there's a round table versus some square tables, and that's distinctive in Chinese culture. So through VR, you can really, there's the opportunity to run into more cultural aspects of the country that you may not get to do from just a textbook. And so the hope is that the VR experience would be paired alongside the curriculum that's already being done in the class. So if you're doing a particular cultural unit, or even like maybe you're working on a certain grammar pattern, you can try to incorporate that into the VR. And so it's a way to do a real life application with the students. So this last bit of the video is just showing you how to exit. There's different controls within the website, and you click on this one. It's cut off a bit. It says lobby, and that takes you back to the options for the different modules. And then you click on quit in the top right corner to exit. So it's fairly user-friendly. And again, I just want to also emphasize something that Jessica had mentioned, that there's pre-work and post-work in the LMS as well. So we use LMS to provide the information that you'll need. And then you can also feel free to update that as well. So one module takes around 1 to 2 hours to complete, depending on how smoothly it's going with the student or how in-depth you are talking with them. So if your student is in a headset, there needs to be breaks every 30 minutes, and that just alleviates any potential for them getting dizzy. But the pre-work and post-work are designed to add to the immersion, and it also removes the pressure for you to be speaking during the actual VR trial, since we want that to be student-centered and them getting a lot of speaking time while they're in the virtual environment. So if you have any questions, we'll save those for the end, and I'm going to turn it back to Jessica now.
Thank you so much, Leah, for that fantastic demonstration. I love how you point out that VR just kind of gives you more opportunities to sort of stumble across cultural pieces. I lived in China for 6 months, and I didn't know the thing about the circular tables. So that was the round tables. So that was really interesting for me to also stumble across. All right, so this is our last slide, just to wrap up with some logistics. If you are interested in requesting a virtual immersion, or if your student asks you for a virtual immersion, we did a webinar an hour ago with the students. So they might come to you in class and say, oh, I heard about these immersions through VR. So if that happens, just reach out to your LTS and they will connect you with the VR team. And as Leah said, a member of the VR team will meet with you individually just to train you on the VR modules, show you how to move around, how to use the controls, etc. And then the VR tiles will be loaded into your LMS, usually a week before your immersion is scheduled. And that includes pre-work, post-work, and a lesson plan that you can use. And then as far as headsets, DLS will handle all of the logistics for that with your student. So they'll ship the headset to the student, or they'll invite the student to come into the office for an on-site immersion with the headset. So we want to make this as instructor friendly as possible, so that you have, all of the support you need and that you don't have to do a lot of prep work. Eventually, we want to integrate it into the curriculum. That's already been done with some classes. So hopefully down the road at some point, you might get your class syllabus and see that you have a virtual immersion scheduled for later on in your course. So that's the goal. All right, that concludes our presentation. So we do have time for questions. If anyone has a question, I'll turn it over to Sean